How are we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today, a lot of news broke recently. I just wanted to make a little update video, kind of like what I did for Poirier Holloway 3, the Baku main event, and the Atlanta main event. A lot of shit got announced. I'm going to go through all of it, try and give you the breakdown, give you the scoop on what I believe is going to happen with these matchups. And let me hide my cursor from you fellas so you don't know when I'm going to click. Alright, can you see it now? No, you can't. I'm a magician. Alright, so the first thing Dana White announced on his Instagram Live was the fact that Islam Makhachev was in fact going to move up and he will be fighting JDM at a later date. This was not confirmed. I'm putting 320 something. I imagine we're going to see this at 321 or 322. Most likely going to be 322. They usually double up in October, and I imagine 322 is going to serve as Abu Dhabi. I would love to see JDM defend his title in Perth, but circumstantially that just doesn't seem like it's going to be possible. With the fact that 319 is in Chicago, 320 is Guadalajara, 321 I imagine will serve as the Salt Lake City card for the year. But yeah, this fight, I'll be honest with you, I think JDM wins. I'm going to pick JDM to beat Islam Makhachev, and that might be... I actually don't know if that's the hot take anymore. I think a lot of people agree. I think JDM, really, you can call it bandwagoning all you want. I can look at a fighter after a fight where I picked them to lose and be like, this guy's the real deal. I've done this with a lot of people before. I'm pretty sure, whose debut did I do that with, where I just picked against him and I've picked him every time since then. He made his debut on, I don't know who I did that with. But forget it anyways. JDM, listen, the performance he had against Belal Muhammad does need to be mentioned. He didn't fight a bummish Belal who didn't shoot takedowns on him. Belal shot 9 solid shots on him. And the reason why they didn't look solid was because JDM's takedown defense was that good. He used very good techniques to defend these takedowns. And when he did get taken down, which was 3 times... he was able to but reverse position and get back up. In the 5th round, especially when you're so tired from the fight, you have 20 minutes of fight already burnt out of you. He's able to buck and get Belal off of him, and also just reverse position very well. JDM looked incredible against Belal Muhammad. And this wasn't, like I said, a sluggish Belal or a slow Belal. Belal looked good. That's the thing people need to mention. Belal on the feet showed really solid boxing prowess with his hand speed and his actual, striking. It's just he didn't have the pop. Islam Makhachev, I don't know how well listen, I've said this before, I think he is the best striker in his division, but that's because he has the threat of the takedown mixed in there. If JDM's able to defend takedowns, the threat of the takedown isn't going to work on him. And Islam... he's not as big as Belal Muhammad. He's a lightweight. He's moving up. Now, lighter man skill might play a factor in this fight. I'm not sure. I think JDM is just that good. After watching that Belal Muhammad performance, I am sipping the Kool-Aid hard on Jack Della Maddalena. I think, for one, I don't really know who can beat his style at welterweight. If Islam isn't able to do it, of course. I don't know how well Ian Gary would do against Jack Della Maddalena. I don't know how well Sean Brady would do against Jack Della Maddalena. I know JDM would have beaten Leon Edwards. He just beat Belal Muhammad in a very gritty matchup, which you can argue he won every fucking round in, let's be honest. He's just got this presence about him in the cage where he's so calm that nothing seems to shake him, even when you land a solid jab on him, a solid 1-2, a solid left hook. He eats it like it's fucking nothing and keeps walking you down and will break you. He almost broke Belal Muhammad, guys. That's fucking crazy. In the Big 25, that's actually crazy. Not a lot of people have been able to make Belal look like that. Especially as of recent, when you look at his recent track record of dominating most of his opponents. Of course, the Leon Edwards performance is a little overrated. I'm pretty sure I said that. It was a 48-47 performance, in my opinion. JDM arguably 50-45'd him. Islam Makhachev, when you look at who he's fighting smaller lightweights, The biggest lightweight he fought recently was Renato Moicano, who's 5'10", who, let's keep it a buck, Renato isn't that great. We're going to talk about Renato later in the video as well. Besides that, he's beating old Dustin Poirier, 35-year-old Dustin Poirier, who fought 2 months prior, or 3 months prior, technically speaking. Volkanovski, who's a featherweight, who is really good. Don't get me wrong. One of them was on short notice, though. All right. Oliveira, that performance is undoubtedly, it's a virtuoso performance. It was beautiful. Beautifully done by Islam Makhachev. Besides that, he doesn't have a lot of depth. All right. He just doesn't have a crazy amount of depth. And that's what it is. Okay. That's just what happens with Islam Makhachev. He's also very inactive. And Islam, let's keep it a buck, when they fight, I think he'll be 35. JDM is 28 years old. This is a perfect matchup that Islam can lose. One, bigger opponent, really solid boxing defense, great takedown defense shown in the Bilal fight, a training partner of Islam Makhachev, who is bigger than Islam, might not be the technical expertise of Islam Makhachev, maybe doesn't even have the strength of Islam Makhachev. I think that Bilal's pretty strong. JDM just looked too damn good. I think JDM's going to beat Islam Makhachev. I truly believe this. Maybe fight week, maybe after watching some tape, maybe I switch my opinion. I don't know, man. I just think that this is a bad stylistic matchup for Islam Makhachev. I think Islam would have beaten Bilal. I think he would have. JDM, if he stays active, we saw the broken arm didn't affect him in this fight. It won't affect him against Islam. I truly think that he'll be able to beat Islam Makhachev, and I think that JDM will rise as a star in the sport if he beats Islam Makhachev. Like I said, you could put this 321, 322. Either way, 323 will most likely be MSG. 324 will serve as T-Mobile in December. 321, I imagine, is going to be Salt Lake City. I'm not sure, but 322 will most likely be Abu Dhabi. We'll see what happens. But this fight, I forgot to mention, Islam vacated his title to fight JDM to get this matchup. That was announced by Dana White. In turn, for the vacant lightweight title, we got Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria, main eventing UFC 317, International Fight Week. This is the fight everyone knew was going to happen following 315, and this is the fight everyone, it isn't the fight that we all wanted. We all wanted Ilia versus Islam. This is a really solid fight, though. I'm going to pick Ilia Topuria to beat Charles Oliveira. I think that he just has too much power, and I imagine his power will translate up against Oliveira, who does get hit too often, and a guy like Oliveira, who, if he wants to get going against Ilia, he's going to have to be in kickboxing distance, in boxing distance, because it's just how Charles fights. He's just a very in-your-face kind of guy. I don't know how well that's going to work against Ilia Topuria. The grappling will be interesting if we do even enter that. Charles is going to be a lot bigger than Ilia. That's just how it's going to be. He's going to be a huge guy compared to Ilia Topuria. Height-wise and maybe width-wise, maybe not bulk-wise. I think Ilia is going to be a ball of muscle at lightweight. I think Ilia knocks him out, though. I think that is the reality we're going to live in. Charles, his Muay Thai allows him to get hit with a lot of straight punches and uppercuts, and Ilia loves to mix in those little rotating shots into his combinations, those hooks and those uppercuts, those kind of, duck under, kind of just rip into the body, then up and uppercut to the head, left hook, and then he kind of just chains those together, throws a hard right hand right after that. I truly believe Ilia is on another level. I think the Islam fight would have been much harder just because Islam, he's just Islam. Like that at lightweight, we just have to say that when it comes to Islam Makhachev, he's very good at lightweight. Charles, he's not coming off the he had a very good performance over Michael Chandler. I just saw Paddy Pimblett finish him in 3 rounds and barely get touched. All right. Besides one punch, Paddy had a almost damn near perfect fight, besides some controlling as well. Had a damn near perfect fight against Michael Chandler. Charles went to 5 rounds with him and almost got finished by Michael Chandler. In the 5th round, that is. In the 5th. right? Charles, prior to that, fought at 300. Prior to that, fought at 289, right? Was that the layoff that he had? I think Charles is too old. He's too old. He's too hittable as well. He's too hittable. His style forces him to be hittable. And against a guy like Ilia Topuria, who has the one-shot punching power he has, I really hate that in a matchup against Charles. Charles, maybe he's able to find some scrambles. Charles is also powerful himself. And Ilia, in my opinion, the thing I've always knocked on him about is his defense, is the fact that he doesn't respect his opponents at all and allows himself to get hit. He's one of those, if you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit you back 2 times as hard, right? Ilia, he sometimes will just stand there and allow his opponents to get a bunch of jabs off before he unleashes a combination. Maybe Charles is able to find the button. I don't think so, though. I think that Ilia is going to be able to, up a weight class against a not as skilled opponent. I think Charles Oliveira is really skilled. I don't think he's as good as Alexander Volkanovski or Max Holloway. He's just bigger and has better jiu-jitsu than those fellas, and maybe that's his path to victory is his jiu-jitsu. But the way Charles gets his jiu-jitsu and grappling working is by walking you down, walking you to the fence, and then shooting. We saw in the Michael Chandler fight a lot of more wrestling attempts by Charles Oliveira. He's usually more of a guy who kind of forces positions on people, kind of forces you against the fence, forces you to give up your back, and then jumps on it or try to trip you. Against Chandler, he was very more of a wrestler in that case, where he was chaining double legs together, chaining double legs into single legs, picking up the lead leg, tripping out the other one. In the Tony Ferguson fight, for example, he was very grapple heavy in that one. I don't really know how well that's going to work against Ilia Topuria, because I think a lot of people always forget that Ilia does have a grappling background. His first martial art was Greco-Roman wrestling. He just doesn't use it because he likes to knock people the fuck out. I think Ilia wins this. I think he knocks out Charles in the first or second round. Charles can create some chaos that can lead to bad moments for Ilia. Maybe he catches him on the button. Maybe he stuns him. Charles does have very quick kicks, and that's something that we've seen Ilia struggle with in the past. Maybe a calf kick, maybe a teep kick to the body, then lead into a front kick or a head kick. I don't know. There are still a lot of unknowns with Ilia at lightweight. The one fight he had there, he almost got finished by Jai Herbert, of course. But I think Ilia is so much more improved since that Jai Herbert fight, and he also took that, short notice? Was that 1 week or 2 weeks notice? I think that Ilia Topuria, he's just at another level. I think El Matador will become the lightweight champion and continue to prove himself as the biggest star or upcoming biggest star in the sport. The co-main event for 317 got announced as Alexandre Pantoja versus Kaikar France. This is a very interesting fight, I'll be honest with you. I think Pantoja wins. Kaikar France is so strange as a fighter because he doesn't fight at all. He rarely fights. It'll be almost a year in absence for him when he fights Pantoja at 317 in June. But he's one of the best anti-grapplers in this fucking division, where nobody can seemingly hold him down at all, and he does have a lot of power. My big issue is that he doesn't fight a lot, and also Pantoja, as of recent, just honestly looks very unbeatable against a guy that fights like Kaikar France, on the feet at least. Had a very one-sided performance against Kaya Sakura. It's Kaya Sakura, I get that. The Steve Bursek performance was competitive, very competitive fight. And I know if you're going to use MMA math, Kaikar France knocked him out in the first round. Pantoja went to a 5-round war with him. Pantoja is able to mix the elements in, though. He's able to create scrambles, create chaos in those clinch scenarios. He's also a very strong guy, and he hits very hard. And that's something I don't think a lot of people give Pantoja credit for, is his striking ability and his punch power. And we've seen Kaikar France curl up in a ball and quit sometimes. Not quit, but we've seen him get TKO'd before. We've seen him get submitted before by Royval, by Moreno. Pantoja's 50-45ing Royval, and even though he's going to a war with Moreno, he's 3-0 against the guy. Kaikar France is 0-2. against Moreno. And maybe it's just a stylistic thing where Kai Kara-France has the perfect style to beat Pantoja, i.e., very good anti-grappler and just good enough striking to be able to manage distance very well against Pantoja. My thing with Kai Kara is he's so predictable on the feet, though. He throws the same combination over and over again. He doesn't really set up he sets up stuff, but he just throws the same thing over and over again. He'll throw a combination, and then he likes it so much he'll throw it 30 seconds down the line. You know what I mean? Pantoja mixes it up so much more when it comes to, like, the diversity department. He has so much diversity when it comes to his attacks. You don't know what's coming at you. And he has such a good chin as well. I don't think Kai Kara-France chins him. I just don't think that happens. I think Pantoja will beat Kai Kara-France. I think it'll be a very tough fight. I think it'll be like a 48, 47, 49, 46 decision where it's like a close fight, but the rounds are very, like, you can tell, Pantoja round one, Kai Kara-France won round 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those fights where it's like, it's close, but it has, like, very, like, easy rounds to score. Like, you know that he did just a bit more in that round. Kai Kara-France did a bit more in that round. Pantoja did way more in these 3 rounds. Like, I think it's going to be a fight like that where it's close, but it's, like, it's competitive, but you know who won. Like, it's clear. There's a clear winner there. I think Pantoja will be able to do that with his grappling mixing up. I know that he's going to struggle to take down Kai Kara-France just because everyone does. That's just something that everyone does struggle with Kai Kara is his takedown defense. But I think Pantoja has a good enough striking ability and pattern recognition that he can strike with Kai Kara-France and just, use his quintessential weapons, his jab, his overhand right, his stalking movements, inside low kick, and then kind of drive you back. And Kai Kara-France is a guy who likes to fight kind of at a distance where he can lunge in and kind of throw a jab here and there, but then he likes to really blitz his opponents. Pantoja's a very I'm in your fucking face at all times, deal with it kind of guy. I think Pantoja will be able to work his weapons more clearly than Kai Kara-France. Another fight that got announced for 317, Paulo Costa versus Roman Kopylov. I love this fight. I said this fight should have been added to 316. It got added to this one. I think Roman Kopylov beats Paulo Costa. I think Paulo Costa is super overrated. He's just a big old mean thudder when it comes to his striking. He's very predictable. He loads up on everything, and he just doesn't have the performances I'd like to see as of recent. He's also criminally inactive. He had 2 fights where he fought at 298 and then 302, was it? And everyone was like, dude, Paulo Costa's so active now. He's so active. And then he just fell off the face of the earth and hasn't fought since then. I don't think he's had a fight booked in the meanwhile. Paulo, he's 1-4 in his last 5. The last good opponent he beat was Yoel Romero, and that was even competitive, and you could argue Yoel won. Roman Kopylov, while he isn't the youngest prospect in the world, he is very good in the striking department. He's super technical when it comes to things, and he's going to have a bit, even though Roman Kopylov's cardio does worry me, he does have better cardio than Paulo Costa. That's just how it is. I think Roman Kopylov also is just better in 3-rounders than Paulo Costa is. Paulo Costa has fought so many 5-rounders as of recent. You see what happens in a 3-rounder where he exerts all his energy, usually in that first round, and then kind of gets just outworked in the last 2 rounds, like the Robert Whittaker fight. The Yoel Romero fight, he exerted so much energy because he's this muscled up specimen that he throws a lot into everything, and then he just slowly kind of like turns into a sandbagger and just is like, ugh. I think Kopylov has a lot of weapons that work well against Paulo Costa. I think he's got a good kicking arsenal that can work very well against Paulo Costa, attack the body, especially Paulo Costa, work on that gas tank, kick to the body. And Roman Kopylov had a great performance against Chris Curtis. Close. Chris Curtis won one of those rounds, but then Roman ended up finishing him. It was a weird finish, but it is what it is. He beat Cesar Almeida, who, besides that, is unbeaten in his career. You know what I mean? Has the fight with Fluffy Hernandez. It's not like Paulo Costa is going to out-wrestle Roman Kopylov. We've seen Roman Kopylov actually be able to implement grappling of his own into his arsenal against Chris Curtis, against Cesar Almeida, even when he's tired. That's something we didn't really see Roman Kopylov do. He was a kickboxer when he entered in, and now he's able to mix in takedowns against guys with solid takedown defense, and Cesar Almeida and Chris Curtis. I think Roman is just on a streak. He's on a momentum swing. A lot of momentum is swinging his way. He's got good enough striking to hang in there with Paulo Costa. He's got a decent chin. And Paulo Costa isn't a Fluffy Hernandez. He's not going to break you down over time and then just supersede your cardio with his. That's just not how it is. Paulo Costa is a guy that needs to bring you down to his level, which, to be fair, Roman Kopylov, he might be able to do that with. Roman Kopylov, like I said, his cardio does scare me in moments. But I just think that Roman Kopylov is just better. I think that's it. I think he's just a better fighter than Paulo Costa is. At the end of the day, Paulo Costa, criminally inactive when it comes to things. He just doesn't fight at all. The last fight he had, like I mentioned, 302, hasn't even been booked for a fight since then. He's been a Twitter meme lord ever since then. I just had a fucking brain fart. Holy shit. Roman, he lost at 298, bounced back, he had the same schedule as Paulo Costa, actually. Bounced back right back in there. Against a tough opponent in Cesar Almeida, and then didn't fight for a little bit after that, to be fair, fought in January, and then beat Chris Curtis. I think that Roman Kopylov, like I said, momentum swinging his way. He's got a good enough striking, great kicking ability, good boxing, very fast hands as well. That's something that Paulo Costa can struggle with, is people who are faster than him. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Roman Kopylov is just going to outwork Paulo Costa. I don't know if he finishes him. Paulo Costa is very durable. I think Roman Kopylov just outworks him. Another fight that got announced for UFC 317, Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano. I'm not going to talk that much about this fight. I'm picking Beneil Dariush to probably beat Renato Moicano. I picked him to beat Renato at 311, and then the fight fell through, so I had to re-record the video. I think Beneil Dariush actually has the perfect style to beat Renato Moicano. Renato Moicano doesn't have enough striking ability and power to knock out Beneil Dariush. And he's not going to be able to completely wrestle fuck Beneil Dariush. That's just not going to happen. Beneil Dariush has great grappling ability, great anti-grappling. We saw that in the Gamrot fight, a guy who has better scrambling ability than Renato Moicano, maybe not as good of wrestling. But Beneil Dariush is just that good when it comes to grappling. And he's got a lot of power, and Renato has a weird chin. And also, they're both older. Like, it's not Renato's like, oh, Renato's younger than Beneil Dariush. They're actually, I'm pretty sure Renato might be older than Beneil, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or they're the same age. I just think Beneil Dariush is the perfect counter style to Renato Moicano. Great grappling ability, great takedown defense, and has a sus chin, but like his biggest weakness is Renato's like worst attribute. To his offense, which is his striking ability and power. You know what I mean? Like he just I don't think Renato can chin him. I just don't think he can. I think Beneil chins him, in fact. I think Renato gasses out. I think he's got a weird gas tank. I think Beneil Dariush can go for 3 rounds pretty easily. He's not active, which that could actually play a part in this, is because Beneil has been so inactive, missed the entirety of 2024. But, he had a fight camp, so it's not like he's completely out of shape. He's at a fight camp since. Against Renato Moicano, they were scheduled to fight. He's got enough data to fill in. He can fill in more data, kind of prepare again. I think Beneil wins. Other fights that got announced for UFC 317. These are older. These were like a couple days old. Royval Cop 1 vs. 6 at flyweight. Jack Hermanson versus Gregory Rodriguez. Viviane Araujo versus Tracy Cortez. And Janata Diniz versus Justin Tafa. I don't have that on here because who fucking cares? Solid fights. I don't really know who I'm picking in Royval Cop. I think it's a weird matchup. I'm going to really have to study that one just because Royval is on such a streak. And I think Cop, honestly, he might just foul his way to victory again. Hermanson Rodriguez, badass fight. Weird fight for Jack Hermanson to come back to. He's got enough gritty, crafty style to beat Gregory, but I think Gregory just hits too hard for Hermanson, who we've seen get steamrolled in very early in fights. Araujo versus Cortez. You guys don't give a fuck. Janata Diniz, Justin Tafa. I'll break that down. This is June 28th is when this card happens. Probably June 25th. Coming to a theaters near you. Other things that got announced for UFC 317, UFC Abu Dhabi, the main event being Whittaker versus Renier de Ritter. This is older, but then Shara Butin Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barrio got announced today. Main event, Whittaker RdR. I honestly have no idea who I'm going to pick in this. My early lean is RDR, but I think, like, dude, it's so weird because, like, Whittaker is so good. He's so fucking good. And maybe recency bias is making me want to pick RDR. And also because I said that he'd be top 10 by the end of the year, and it's like, that'd be a good take by me. I don't know. Because Whittaker's got such good, like, scrambling ability. He's probably one of the better scramblers in the division. And maybe it's because, like, Whittaker's coming off such a dog shit performance against Khamzat, but it's like nobody fights like fucking Khamzat does. RDR is like, he's so far from Khamzat. Like, he's a very walk you down, in your face, I'm going to break you guy. Can he break Robert Whittaker? I don't know. I don't know if he can. Maybe I pick Whittaker. Whittaker's so damn good, dude. But RDR is very good as well. I don't know. Shara Booten versus Marc-Andre. Honestly, a tough matchup for Shara. I'm going to probably pick Shara Booten in that one. Just because Marc-Andre... But, like, does Shara have the knockout power as Marc-Andre Barrett? Can he knock him out? Like, Marc-Andre's chinny now, but, like... To be fair, Marc-Andre... Dustin Stoltzfus is dog shit, though. I think Shara probably just does a bit more than Marc-Andre Barrios. It's a bigger cage. Marc-Andre is going to struggle to keep him against the cage as much as he did. And Shara, you know, he's going to fight with some vengeance in this one. And it's not like he's fighting a guy on the feet who's super good. You know, Mark's, like, decent, but he's significantly slower than MVP. Yeah, I actually don't know. This is going to be a fight that I'm going to have to really think about in Robert Whittaker versus Renier de Ridder. Because, like, dude, Renier... He's such a weird... He's so fucking goofy, but, like, to be fair, that is the DDP method. Like, we've seen DDP do this before. Does it repeat? But it's like, does Robert lose 2 in a row, though? You know what I mean? Like, does he? Like, this is a very, like, opponent that Whittaker beats and chins. But I don't know if RDR is, like, as bad as Ikram is. Like, is he at Ikram level, or is he just high enough to, like... Because I don't know how his grappling's going to look. Because, dude, RDR's a big fucking guy. He's huge. He's a huge guy. But I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to you guys on that. What are some of your guys' early takes on these fights so far? Who do you guys got winning a lot of these? What are your, like, first initial reactions? I lean towards... I'm half and half on that fight. I'll actually have to... Maybe early lean RDR. I'll have to... The thing is, like, watching tape on RDR, though, makes you not want to pick him. Does anyone else feel that way? Like, whenever I, like, tape study RDR, I'm like, this guy sucks. Like, that's why MMA Guru picked Bo Nickel, was because when you watch tape on RDR, you're like, there's no way that works against this guy. But it just works. It just does. But Whittaker's so good, man. And he's young. He's actually going to be younger than RDR, I think. I don't know. The last thing we got announced this dais was UFC 319. Oh, no, these are other fights. My bad. Other fights for UFC Abu Dhabi. Nikita Krylov versus Bogdan Guskov. Asu Almabeya versus Ramazan Tamirov. And Ibo Aslan Billy Elikana. These are the 3 other fights that have been announced for this card. Nikita Krylov somehow didn't get medically suspended after being brutally KO'd by Dominic Reyes at 314. All right. Bogdan Guskov, that's a good fight. I'm probably going to pick Krylov, I think. I don't know. That fight against Dominic Reyes was pretty bad. Almabayev Tamirov, I'm probably going to pick Tamirov. I think Tamirov's really good. I think Asu Almabayev doesn't really have enough striking ability to stand there with Ramazan. And Ramazan hits very hard as well. He's very quick as well. Ibo Aslan, Billy Elikana. That's a weird one because Billy Elikana might be able to sub Ibo Aslan. He was able to get Bogdan Guskov's back for like the entire round. And that was on very short notice for Billy. Ibo Aslan's grappling... Like, he was forced to throw a lot and gassed out, and, like... But Billy did quit against Bogdan Guskov. He did quit against Bogdan. Great fights, though. Great fight. Abu Dhabi's going to be a really good fight, or really good card. A lot of... some other fights that have been rumored for this, Piotr Jan versus Marcus McGee was rumored for this card. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or take place, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The last thing, all right, back to what I was saying with 319, UFC 319, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, and I believe that is the last thing that has been in it. Yep. Because there's no other fights. Chicago. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. What am I early? Goddamn, I'm hiccuping. Fuck. My early read on this is Khamzat subs DDP in the first round. I've been saying this since Khamzat. Goddamn, the hiccups. I've been saying this since Khamzat beat fucking Robert Whittaker 308. I just think Khamzat has the perfect style to beat Dricus. Goddamn, you really need to go at him. Khamzat is a guy that never changes his fight style. And DDP, he's going to pull a guillotine on him. And that's why I'm like, he's going to pull a fucking guillotine on Khamzat. And I'm looking at other grappling exchange. He's trying to lateral drop Brad Tavares. You know, he's doing shit movements against Darren Till. And Khamzat's so fucking big and strong and fast. I think it'll be another performance where you're like, what the fuck is going on? DDP. Now, to be fair to DDP, if it goes past round 1 and probably round 2, I think DDP has it in the bag. I'll be honest. Khamzat's cardio has always been the weakest part of his game. We've known this for a while. We've known this since UFC 273, to be fair, when he fought Gilbert Burns. But, you know, I don't know. He's so inactive as well. That's another thing with Khamzat is the inactivity. And Dricus looked really fucking good against Sean, but that is a strictly stand-up fight where he doesn't have to fear any takedowns coming back his way. Khamzat is all takedown threat. That's it, and he hits very hard. And DDP is a goober. So DDP could win by a series of unfortunate events, but I think Khamzat will find the sub in round 1 or maybe early round 2, maybe even a TKO ground and pound type finish where he just like DDP can't get back up. These are a lot of fights that have been announced recently. What are your early takes on these? 317, JDM Islam, not officially announced, but that's what's going to be next for both of these fellas. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you want me to do next. UFC Vegas 106 this weekend, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. I'll give those picks and breakdown for you maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday, depending on how I'm feeling. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.